Democrat mayors across America are panicking right now. Something just happened in Washington, D.C. that destroyed their biggest lie. For years, they've told you that crime is impossible to control. They've said police don't make a difference. They claimed you just have to accept violence as part of city life. Well, in just 9 days, Trump's team proved them dead wrong. The numbers are so shocking, even liberal politicians can't spin them. Chicago's murder machine keeps running while D.C. transforms overnight. The establishment doesn't want you to see these statistics. They definitely don't want you connecting the dots between their policies and your family's safety. So stay with me. And while Trump's federal agents clean up D.C., American families need real solutions for their own battles with pain. You're getting older. I'm getting older. It's unavoidable. Until science figures out how we age in reverse, we all face joint pain. You probably tried supplements promising miracles, but most don't work. There is one thing, though, that has stood the test of time. It's turmeric. But standard turmeric barely gets absorbed by your body, making it useless for serious pain. Dr. Josh Leavitt works with BCM 95 curcumin, which absorbs 200 times better. He combined it with boswellia, magnesium, and bromelain in Golden Revive Plus. I personally take it. No more morning stiffness. So visit goldenrevive.com/NNN, or just click the link in the description to start moving pain-free again. So let's set the stage. Brandon Tatum in the new media seat today. What a beautiful sight to see. And he popped off that press conference with an amazing question. Let's listen.
With these shootings, and the second thing is Chicago. You know, anybody with a connected brainstem knows that Chicago's crime is out of control. And young black men are getting killed, laying dead in the middle of the streets every single day in Chicago. No president has addressed any of these issues. And so what is the White House going to do to address issues in their capacity to deal with the conflict and violence in Chicago?
Sure. Well, to your first question about this shooting in Minnesota, right now, the administration is focused on helping the people of Minnesota. It's been less than a day, of course, since this tragedy happened. We have federal law enforcement on the ground assisting local law enforcement. This investigation is ongoing. There's still a lot of facts to understand about these circumstances, and so we're going to continue to do that. As for Chicago and cracking down on crime, it is a priority of this administration to ensure that American cities are safe again, and I'm so glad that you brought up the crime in Chicago, because we've been seeing the governor of Illinois parading out there saying that there's nothing wrong with Chicago. It's a great place to live. There's no crime there. He doesn't need President Trump's help. Well, I think the residents of Chicago beg to differ, and the statistics beg to differ. And I'll just share a few of those statistics with all of you. For 13 consecutive years, Chicago has had the most murders of any U.S. city. This is JB Pritzker's legacy, by the way. For 7 consecutive years, Chicago has had the highest murder rate among U.S. cities with more than 1 million people. In 2024, just last year, Chicago's murder rate per capita was 3 times higher than Los Angeles and nearly 5 times higher than New York City. That's more than double the murder rate in Islamabad and nearly 15 times more than Delhi.
Unbelievable statistics she's citing right there. Caroline Levitt calling out Democrat leaders for lying to the American people about curbing violent crime. Your leaders are lying to you, and they have been for decades. Watch.
Your leaders are lying to you, and they have been failing you for decades. The President Trump approach of upholding law and order by letting our brave men and women in blue actually do their jobs to aggressively fight crime works. In just a few weeks, President Trump has done more for D.C. residents than Democrats did in 50 years. And this can be replicated in other crime-ridden cities across the nation. As President Trump has said, all of these elected officials in charge have to do is pick up the phone and ask for the president and the federal government's help. President Trump doesn't care if they are a Republican or a Democrat leader. He wants Americans to be safe, and for every law-abiding American citizen across the country to be able to thrive in their city and in their community. With that, I'll take questions here in our new media seat today.
Yeah, you know what? Just pick up the phone. That's all you got to do. But see, the problem with these Democrat leaders is if the moment they pick up the phone is the moment that they are asking for help. Why would they need help? It's because it admits that their policies are absolute failures that are creating terror on their streets. Now, let's continue here. The press secretary blasting Pritzker's legacy
safe again. And as for Chicago and cracking down on crime, it is
okay. So yeah, we just played that. According to new polling, this is more from the press secretary. 81% of Americans say crime is a major problem.
According to new polling, 81% of Americans say crime is a major problem in large cities across the country. And a clear majority of Americans believe the president's actions are justified and necessary to reduce crime in these cities. Indu Bhatia, who runs a liquor store a half mile from the White House here just down the street, is one of those Americans who are grateful for President Trump's public safety push. Indu recently told the New York Post that her store was robbed so many times that they had to spend exorbitant sums of money on security, jeopardizing her family's financial future. But thanks to President Trump's strong action, Indu said, quote, "All of my employees, including me, we feel much safer, and even our customers feel really happy when they walk into our store." And just yesterday, Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser credited President Trump for surging federal law enforcement personnel and said neighborhoods, quote, "feel and are much safer." We thank Mayor Bowser for her cooperation and her willingness to help us make D.C. safe and beautiful. This entire effort has vindicated what President Trump and law and order advocates have been saying for years. According to new
President Trump vindicated. But of course, I mean, even Mayor Bowser, that's kind of shocking. Here's more from the press secretary that our message to Americans in Democrat-run cities: decline is a choice.
Failing you for this is our message to Americans in Democrat-run cities nationwide. Decline is a choice. You don't have to live in constant fear of being robbed, raped, or murdered. Your leaders are lying to you, and they have been failing you for decades. The President Trump approach of upholding law and order by letting our brave men and women in blue actually do their jobs to aggressively fight crime works. In just a few weeks, President Trump has done more for D.C. residents than Democrats did in 50 years. And this can be replicated in other crime-ridden cities across the nation.
You hear that? It can be replicated. Every single Democrat mayor in a crime-ridden city is freaking out right now after hearing that.
President Trump has said all of these elected officials in charge have to do is pick up the phone and ask for the president and the federal government's help.
Let's see, we got some more here. Pick up the phone. Here's more from the press secretary regarding Labor Day weekend travel plans.
As Americans make their Labor Day weekend travel plans, they will be able to enjoy 5-year low gas prices thanks to President Trump fully unleashing American energy dominance. President Trump ended Joe Biden's Green New Scam policies and is delivering on his promise to make America affordable again. These savings at the pump are giving everyday American families more room in their budgets at the end of each month, which is the exact opposite of what we saw under the previous administration.
The previous administration was a joke. Here is a Chicago restaurant owner blasting local leaders for their soft on crime policies. Do you own a restaurant in Chicago? How are you doing?
And we will see the federal government has failed the city of Chicago for many years. One is they're not prosecuting gun violence charges. These are federal offenses. We need the federal government to step in and prosecute the federal charges, which are all the guns, and we will see the crime reduced. I mean, we need the federal government to start prosecuting. If they got to step in, they got to step in, because the judges that are placed in Cook County right now are not detaining, they're not prosecuting. We continue to see with this 17-year-old kid who assaulted these 3 young men. He's got a history, and I know he's a juvenile, but he has a history. He's been on the street. People recognize him. He's very dangerous, and they continue to release people. If you go back when Kim Foxx was the prosecutor, she released over 9,000 people out of Cook County Jail. That only made it worse for the city of Chicago. We're trying to take our city back, but we need the help from the federal government to step in, prosecute them, have federal judges lock up these repeat violent offenders, to put every child at risk, And like I said, a mother of a 5-year-old child who got shot in the head doesn't care the numbers or how many people were killed 10 years ago. We're talking about real time today. Why are everybody put in danger? The children are going back to school, and if we don't put a curb on it, we're going to lose a lot of children to crime.
You know, They keep saying, oh, crime's down, crime's down, crime's down. He makes a good point. Why are we talking about crime from 10 years ago? Why does it even matter? Let's talk about the crime that's happening today. Here is Mayor Bowser talking about the streets of D.C. and how it's worked, President Trump's policy.
Has helped. This is what we think in just a couple of weeks of experience has worked. Having more federal law enforcement officers on the street.
You hear that, Brandon Johnson? You hear that? There's the mayor of D.C. It works. While you can't answer a question about having an increased police presence on the ground in Chicago, here's a mayor that says it works. Does she bring up housing as a solution? I don't think so.
We think having more stops that got to illegal guns has helped. We think that there's more accountability in the system, or at least perceived accountability in the system, that is driving down illegal behavior. We know that we have had fewer gun crimes, fewer homicides, and we have experienced an extreme reduction in carjackings. This is what
extreme reduction. Okay, let's check in with J.D. Vance torching Gavin
days. And so, crazy statistic, violent crime has dropped in D.C. 35% in 9 days. Robberies in D.C. have dropped 55% in 9 days. And it highlights the fact that this living with lawlessness and disorder, that's fundamentally a question of political will. If you've got the political will to enforce the law, you can make even cities like D.C. safe again. And that's what we're demonstrating. And I hope that the American people take an important lesson from this, because obviously D.C. is a federal city, New York, L.A., these places are not. I hope the American people just recognize that you don't have to live with lawlessness. You don't have to live with third world murder rates. If you just take control of these cities, you can make them safe places to live in.
So your pal Gavin Newsom calls this an abuse of power, that this is just a power grab, and this is all stunt for show, and that you all are going to roll through other cities. You've heard things about, it's martial law is going to be declared.
Yep.
And to that you say?
Well, first of all, how is it a power grab, or how is it a stunt when we've already declined murders by 35% in 9 days? How many people?
Well, first of all, it's not a stunt, because they're acting on the home rule law. They are simply following the law that is already on the books. It's been there.
Are living and breathing today because Donald Trump had the willpower to say, you know what, we're sick of D.C. being a home to lawlessness. We're going to bring some public order back to the nation's capital. So what I would say to Gavin Newsom or to anybody else in some of these big blue states or big blue cities is, you can have law and order, you can have common decency, you can have public spaces that young families can go to again. I'll tell you a story, Laura. A couple of years ago, the last time I was in Union Station, I took my little kids there to get lunch.
So he is definitely sending a message to Gavin Newsom. Let's keep looking here. This is the head of Citibank, I'm assuming, head of wealth, Andy Sieg, says the president's policies are coming together, and investors around the world are recognizing it.
To that, the U.S. is incredibly attractive. I mean, when you think about the president's policies, the president's policies are now coming together in a way that investors around the world are recognizing. You've got, the tariff regime in place alongside deregulation, alongside stimulus. You can see the market reaction to that. It has defied the skeptics in terms of what's happening in the market. And so investors see that. The U.S. is...
I remember when they said, he's going to crash the economy. Oh, what's this? Trump's energy agenda delivers lowest holiday gas prices in half a decade. AAA hotel rates are down 11%. Domestic airfares down 6%. Car rental costs down 3% over last year. Morgan Dean from AAA.
Year ago, domestic airline tickets right now for the holiday are about 6% cheaper than they were at this time last year, which I think most people would welcome. We also took a look at hotel rates, down about 11% compared to a year ago, and car rental costs about 3% cheaper. Domestic airline tickets.
Yeah. Oh, the skeptics are freaking out now. Travelers can look forward to dipping airfare and cheapest gas prices we've seen since 2020. Man, the news is amazing.
As the summer season comes to a close and cooler temperatures set in, travelers can look forward to dipping airfare and the cheapest gas prices we've seen since 2020.
It's going to get better after
The cheapest since 2020. What happened in 2020? Oh, yeah, I remember. They stole the frickin' election.
Labor Day and into mid-September. That's when we roll back to cheaper winter gasoline.
Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy says some parts of the country could see gas prices drop below $3 a gallon soon. If you're flying, domestic airfare is 6% cheaper than last year, according to AAA. As the summer
Racking up the wins. Let's check it with Colorado.
It was around $3. AAA tells me that the average here in Colorado is around $3.18. If you look behind me at the Valero 88th and Pecos, I can definitely tell you it's $3.25 here. Now we can compare it to this time last year. It was $3.34. So Brian and Michelle, you are saving some money for gas. AAA tells
Trump is making gas great again. Now I want to put stickers on all the gas pumps with President Trump's face on it, with him pointing on, I did this, right? Yeah, that's what we're going to make next. Good news for Labor Day travelers.
Are the lowest in good news for Labor Day travelers. Gas prices are the lowest in 5 years. The price tracker called Gas Buddy expects the holiday average to be about $3.15 a gallon. That's 14 cents cheaper than last year and the lowest Labor Day price since 2020. And Gas Buddy says watch for the price to fall below $3 a gallon this fall. Good news for Labor Day.
I am not tired of winning. Crime down, gas down, the economy's raging. Just let's get those interest rates cut, Jerome. All right? Before Trump shows you the frickin' door like he did Crooked Cook. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this matters because your family's safety isn't negotiable. For 13 years, Chicago families lived in fear while Pritzker counted bodies. D.C. just proved that's a choice, not destiny. When federal agents hit the streets, carjackings dropped 87%, robberies cut in half, murder rates plummeted. The Democrats running these cities have blood on their hands, but they chose criminals over citizens. They chose ideology over your kids walking to school safely. And now they're scrambling for excuses. Democrat congressman actually compared ICE agents to Nazis for arresting gang members. That's how desperate they are. Meanwhile, working families saving money at the pump thanks to Trump's energy policies while also feeling safer on the streets. So here's my question. Should federal agents be deployed to every Democrat-run city to stop the violence? Drop a yes or no in the comments. And don't forget to check out our merch shop. It's linked below. You might find something you like.